Good morning. My name's Caitlin, if you're new to the podcast, and welcome to today's episode. My voice sounds a little bit hoarse. I'm afraid that I'm getting sick, but I don't think I'm going to know for sure until tonight. Maybe tomorrow morning. I don't know. Hopefully tonight, because I don't want to, if I have to call out of work tomorrow, I would like to do that before, the morning. But, yeah, I don't know, I can't tell. It's like I had a tickle in my throat last night, and it hasn't really gone away, and I feel kind of, ugh. But my period just started, so, I've been learning a lot about, how, hormone cycles can affect you, and how different phases in your hormone cycle can exacerbate certain symptoms or neurodivergent traits. So I already struggle with fatigue and joint pain and just general exhaustion, I would say. So there were a few days before my period that I actually had energy for the first time ever, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm just faking the chronic fatigue or something, because as soon as you feel good for 1 second, you're like, oh, maybe I'm just faking it. Definitely not. Oh my god, I am so exhausted now. Everything hurts. I'm wearing knee braces and compression socks, and everything's just been so achy all weekend. Yeah. So that's where I'm at today. I'm really tired. I slept in an extra half hour because I just couldn't. No, I couldn't convince myself to get up. I didn't really do anything except for brush my teeth and go, make my breakfast. I already made lunch last night. I just left. I was like, ugh. So, which I don't normally do a whole lot more than that. I would have liked to have folded the basket of laundry that I have. But I'm trying to be kind to myself during this time because my body is expelling a lot of energy, getting rid of my uterine lining. So I need to be kind and understand that, I am just not going to have as much energy right now, and I need to kind of accommodate for that as much as I can. Because it's going to be better for me in the long run if I rest when I need to rest. So I did still come in and do my podcast because that's something that I think I would feel. I think it would that's one of those routine things that if I don't do it, I feel like I will probably end up feeling worse mentally. The routine of coming into work early and recording really helps me kind of transition into my day. I can kind of get it started slowly by talking, but not having other people around, really. And then I can, normally I'll be kind of ready to start the day once I finished up recording. So I made myself some tea to try and help with my throat. I looked for this one I think is spiced something, has a bunch of different really good herbs and spices in it to try and help my immune system. But I don't normally drink, but the work dinner that I know I had mentioned was Friday night. It's Monday now. I had some champagne, and of course they walk around and refill it like all the time, and so like I didn't really know how much I was drinking. I just tried to like make sure I was drinking more water and like drinking slower than the people around me, but I couldn't really tell, and we were there for like 3 hours, so I don't know. And I know that alcohol can reduce your immune system, so I'm wondering if part of it is just like reduced immune system, getting my period, which also reduces your immune system. Like maybe I'm just, really vulnerable right now. And I was out with a bunch of people in a public area, and maybe that is just, I don't know. I'm not sure. Just hypothesizing. But the dinner went well. I was able to sit all the way on one end, and it was with people like that I generally don't find to be super stressful to be around. I feel like I can kind of be myself, and even though they think I'm weird, they don't I don't know. They appreciate my quirkiness, I guess. And even though there were times where I was like, wow, I said that, and that was weird. Like nobody makes me feel bad about it. So that's good. And I have some other neurodivergent coworkers, so I think it ended up being nice, and I really only talked to 3 people, which is like the max amount of people that I can really engage with at a time. So it was, I was able to not totally overload myself. I was wearing these the whole time. They're my loop earplugs, if you don't know what they are. There are several brands that have good noise filtering earplugs. But those are just the ones that I have. But yeah, I feel like I am sounding more like my original podcast episodes, where I'm just really, I don't know, I felt like I was kind of dull in the past few episodes. I was like, oh, I've got more energy, things sound like more exciting, and now I'm not very exciting. I just have no energy, so yeah. Normally over the weekend I would have gotten some more stuff done. I didn't do any of my class. Again, I'm just trying to be kind to myself. My brain is not at a place to be readily accepting new information. Now I have plenty of stuff to go over, so I will get into that in just a second, because I've gotten all the way up to like unit 17 or something. So I've only talked about 5 so far. So I definitely have plenty to talk about. I just, I didn't actually get any further in it, because I have no energy. And I might do some of it today at work. I don't know what I'm going to do today at work, except I'm going to try to really be... I'm trying to really reserve my energy as much as possible. Yeah. I saved my mug and spoon and over here, like, just so that I could have... I always use this mug at work. It's my work mug. And I've liked this spoon, so I've kind of stolen it. It's my work spoon. It's the only one of its kind. I tend to do that, but also it's the nicest spoon that they have here, so I don't know. I'm weird like that. There are several weird things that I keep coming up like new things, and I'm like, oh, is this normal? And then no, that's not normal. Like, or I'll like ask my partner if he experiences things, and he's like, no, I don't know that. It's like, I know I talked about the movie thing and like it feeling like actually real, like you were in it, and like that happened, like that really happened. When I was outside at the restaurant on Friday, it was really cold, and I was wearing like just like very thin tights, and so my kneecaps were shaking. Like literally my kneecaps were moving up and down. And I like if I lock my knees, my kneecap moves quite significantly. I can just move it around. And I used to do that to like freak people out when I was in like elementary school, middle school, I don't know. Just because it was fun, and I liked freaking people out because I wasn't very funny, so I was like, well, let's look at a reaction. And I don't know, I didn't know what to talk about, so I was like, look, there's a weird thing I can do with my body. Yeah. So then, like, my partner was laying on the bed and had his, like, knee locked, and I tried to, like, move his kneecap, and it doesn't move, and I don't know why. Like, it's so weird to me. And meanwhile, he's like, you're weird. Like, this is normal, you're weird. Again, there is no normal, whatever. But, like, my thing is unusual, but it's normal to me because that's what I'm used to. And it's like, oh, another thing about me that's not typical. And then I was saying, can you make your body go tingly? And he's like, what does that mean? And I was like, I don't know. Like, if you think about it, and then everything tingles. And it's like, it's almost like you're making yourself shiver, but like not quite, but like your body feels tingly. Can you think about it and then feel tingly? And he's like, no. I'm like, oh, because I can do that. I don't know what use it really has, other than sometimes I just like, it's almost like zoning out your eyes, but like for your whole body. And you can just kind of like think about it, and then it sends like a tingly rush through your whole body. Sometimes I just do it because I'm bored. It's like a sensory thing, and I can just like control it with my mind, and I thought that was really cool. And he's like, that is so weird. I've never heard of that. So yeah, just me discovering new weird things about me. This is actually a really good tea. I'm really happy I made it. Didn't put any sugar in it. They have honey sticks here, but some of them are like crystallized, and I didn't feel like fiddling with it, so I was like, I'm just gonna make it. And actually it tastes like it has like cinnamon and clove and something else that maybe is like kind of gives sweetness to your taste buds, which is cool. I'm a huge foodie and love like the sensory aspect. I'm very sensory seeking when it comes to flavors. I love different flavors of things, and like really paying attention to it. So that's one of the reasons why I went to the dinner, was because it was like a tasting menu at a super fancy restaurant, and I was like, I can't pass up going to this for free. Like, I just can't justify not going, even though there was I had plenty of reasons. I heavily considered it, but I'm glad I went. I do think that it felt like my weekend just kind of poofed because of it. Like Saturday, I was just recovering from it. And then feeling like I needed to get something out, like I needed to express something artistically, and I just like couldn't figure out what to do. And the executive dysfunction was like very strong Saturday. And then yesterday, we just didn't really do much of anything, and it's like I didn't feel like I really recovered or rested enough. And I think part of that is just because I'm gonna be more tired just during this phase. And so, yeah, just trying to be accepting of that because normally I would just get frustrated and get kind of down and maybe a little depressed about how I feel, and knowing that it's natural and trying to remind myself that is, I think, definitely going to help. And also I am, yes, stimming, because I am always doing that. I've had a stim ball with me at the restaurant that I definitely needed halfway through, because trying to sit at a restaurant for 3 hours, oh my god, that was a lot of sitting in one place. But I did it, and it was good. It was good. Yeah, so let's move on to some information. Again, I do kind of always relate these things back to myself. Hopefully that is helpful for you guys, and you can kind of relate it back to yourself, because that's what the whole point of it is to kind of dive into this topic. And for me, it's for self-discovery and to learn how to support myself better, and then hopefully be able to support other people later down the line when I've kind of figured things out a little bit more and feel confident in my knowledge and ability to do so. That was my phone. Today is Unit 6, Neurodiversity and Mental Health. It's a very this topic for me is really important. I have a trigger warning. This is a very sensitive topic, but I'm not going to talk about this the whole time. I'm going to do an actual episode on this at some point. I know I've mentioned it before, but one of the reasons why mental health and neurodiversity is very important to me is because I have lost 2 of my relatives to suicide, and I have other family members who have been admitted to medical facilities for various mental health issues. So it's something that has deeply impacted my life. And I know that while the neurodiversity side of things hasn't really been discovered for a lot of the people, in some cases it will never be. But I definitely think it plays a role, and I'm really passionate about helping people discover their neurodiversity and help people, because I know it's helped me so much in having a label for things. One of my favorite analogies is labels are important because it's easier to know that you are a zebra instead of just a weird horse. You're never gonna fit in with horses if you're a zebra that thinks they're a horse. So if you're a zebra, you're a zebra, then you can find other zebras and have a community that actually is fulfilling, and people that understand you. So I think that that's a huge part in the mental health aspect, and why mental health problems tend to be so prevalent for neurodivergent people is because they don't necessarily know they're neurodivergent until they start having extreme mental health problems, and sometimes they never find out. So something that I'm very passionate about. I don't want anyone to have to go through life questioning every aspect of themselves like I have. And if you are, I would like to be able to help just comfort and know that there's nothing inherently wrong with you. Differences are beautiful, and we just have to learn how to accommodate them and how to nurture ourselves. But again, it's something that I didn't really know how to do until this year. So having these labels has really helped me to look at myself differently. So anyways, My notes on this unit are that neurodivergent individuals may also experience mental health conditions like anxiety, depression, and or PTSD or CPTSD. The statistics on that are frightening. I don't have them in front of me, but I do know that the vast majority of neurodivergent people experience CPTSD. Now, CPTSD is different from PTSD in that it is more compounded, smaller, like what people call little t traumas. So the way that trauma affects the brain is basically you're unable to process and incorporate that information into your life. So basically something happens and you're not processing it, and it kind of just floats around there in your like mental space, and the more and more that happens, the less capacity you have to handle anything adverse. So for neurodivergent people, that can really, be impactful because we already have struggles with too much sensory input or racing thoughts and all of the, just there's a lot of different aspects to why neurodivergent people have a little bit more in their mental space than neurotypical people do. So then if you compound that with traumatic events that are maybe, small things, it could happen daily. It could be, repetitive, loud noises, things that, frighten you, and that you're not, the most important aspect of it is that you're not processing it and incorporating. It could be, consistently being misunderstood in social situations, at work or at school, and it's just compounds. So it's a little bit different than, like a big T trauma, like a car accident or like physical abuse or, there's different aspects. Sometimes physical abuse is a consistent thing that people face, and it can be, it can be a CPTSD thing as well. So it's just, that's why going to therapy is very important when you're trying to figure these things out, to try and unpack what trauma you've experienced. Sometimes it can be hard to even know without having somebody externally to help you navigate that. I know that for me, first thing I was diagnosed with was panic disorder and general anxiety. And this was way, way before I knew I was autistic, or even was considering that I had no clue. And nothing really seemed to help. I had panic attack medicine. It worked all right, I guess, Didn't keep me from having the panic attacks. It just helped me get through them better. I tried really hard to unpack why they were happening, but I couldn't make sense of it. Now I kind of know that it's because I have these sensory sensitivities, and I wasn't listening to my body at all. I was pushing myself to do things that I really didn't need to be doing. And I was having all of these issues and not having any label for it, and just basically having a lot of internalized ableism as to why can't I do blah blah blah? Why is this so hard for me? What is wrong with you? So that's, that was my internal monologue for a long time. It's just what is wrong with you? Why can't you just function like everybody else is doing it? Why can't you do the thing? Why can't you get through class? Why can't you wake up without having a panic attack every morning? But it turns out that I, was going against my body on a lot of things, and I was just fighting. I was fighting myself all the time. So now I'm really trying to work with myself, and I think that's really, really helping. But it wasn't an easy thing. It didn't happen overnight. And sometimes it was an external factor, like my partner, that really helped me to get through that. I know that my panic attacks in the morning have gotten a lot better. I think because of my partner, because I'm not alone when I go to sleep. He wakes up at a different time than me, but I wake up and there's someone there and I'm not alone. And I think that helps, in some of the panicky thoughts, so I don't really have them as much. It's easier for me to kind of focus and control that. And I've done a lot of work in other areas, so it's not to say that that's like the one thing, but I do think it's helped over time. It's taken a while. We've been together for a long time, and it's really just been recently that I've noticed that I'm not really having anxiety when I wake up anymore. But I'm also on a consistent sleep schedule because my partner has to be, and so I've gotten on his routine, and that's actually really helped me. Because I know for me, I tend to, I really do need routine in order to function. But I tend to get really discouraged and think, oh, this isn't working, and I'm just so tired, and I just get rid of it, and I don't keep up with it. I can't keep up with it. So having something external to kind of motivate me and keep me on my routine has really, really helped me, and helped my mental health, my panic attacks. I think that not having the panic attacks has helped with the depression as well, because panic attacks would often leave me feeling depressed afterwards. Sometimes I blamed that on the medication, but even after I stopped taking medication, it would kind of do the same thing, where you just you have a downswing. Your body used up so much energy on the panic attack that you got nothing left. And so it's just, and then you're trying to figure out, why did that happen? And I'm sure that some of my panic attacks weren't panic attacks at all. They were actually meltdowns, and I just didn't have the vocabulary to understand what was happening. But I've been really, really good about managing my sensory environment and really trying to protect my nervous system. I know that I'm not gonna, I know that a meltdown will happen, but I'm not freaking out about when that's gonna be, because I know that I can't really control everything, even though I want to. But knowing that, I've been through so much worse, and now I know what it is, and I know that I'll be able to make it through, and my partner now knows what it is, and so I don't, and my partner is great, so supportive during, those moments where I really, really need it, and all the time, but just yeah, I'm just so grateful to have somebody that can handle those moments. Back to my notes, there is a stigma, lack of understanding, financial constraints, and long wait times for service, and lack of neurodiversity training in mental health professionals that can cause barriers to proper care. I've definitely experienced that. I've never actually met a therapist that knew about neurodiversity things as it like relates to like being trained on anything. They're like, yeah, I mean, like I know about it, but like not enough to really like, I don't know. I have a talk therapist and that's about it. I definitely want to look into other forms of therapy, but it's also like I just have a lot going on, and it's like I'm taking this class and I'm like, maybe once the class is over then I'll have more time, like mental space to like think about that. But I really just kind of want to learn this stuff on my own, and I think I find it frustrating when I feel like I know more than the person that I'm paying. So I don't know. I know that I don't know more than the person that I'm paying, but I mean on certain topics like neurodiversity, I feel like sometimes I know more than they do. And that's not really their fault because they just weren't trained. But for me, it's like, this is really important for me, so I'm spending a lot of time on it. But yeah, I mean, most neurodivergent people at some point in their lives will experience underemployment. So financial barriers are definitely a huge problem for finding care. And I mean, that's not even finding good care, that's just finding care in general. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely sensitive to that. Part of why I want to get into coaching is because I want to offer services that are affordable to people who don't have insurance. And I know that whatever I can offer is not going to be a replacement for therapy. But maybe I can help people find therapists that will be affordable for them, or find professionals that are trained in areas, you know, like I really want to be able to help just find support for other neurodivergent people, because I know how hard it is to find that support. And yeah, whatever little bit that I can do, I would like to, of course, when I have the training to do so, and I'm confident that I can really make a difference. Trauma-informed and neurodiversity-informed approaches recognize the impact of past experiences on mental and behavioral health and promote embracing differences and self-advocacy. So that's a lot. It is, I think, becoming more prevalent that there's trauma-informed care. I think neurodiversity-informed approaches are kind of a little bit behind. Just because everyone can experience trauma. At some point, I mean, not that they will, but they can. There's a capacity to experience trauma in everyone. And so I think with neurodiversity, because sometimes it is such a minority, there's less focus on it when it comes to training. But yeah, they're very important, and I think that you really should be aware of both if you're going to be trying to work with anyone who's neurodivergent. They've most likely experienced trauma of some form in their life. And with people who've experienced trauma, they may be undiagnosed neurodivergent, and you just don't know that. So it's really important to know the differences, what to look for. I would like to be able to help people kind of unpack things and be like, hey, you know, this is what I'm seeing. Maybe we can look for a professional evaluation for you. Maybe this will help give you some answers, and then we can work on more tools. You know, that we can always work on things without a diagnosis, in coaching, which is one of my favorite parts about it, is that you don't need a diagnosis to start working on things. But you know, for me, it was really helpful to have that confirmation, and so we can like work towards that and have that kind of external support through the process, because I didn't really have that. I mean, I had my family, but I know a lot of people don't even have that, so yeah. Coping strategies like mindfulness, sensory regulation, and social networks. I know that I used to do yoga, which was not really great for hypermobility, so I've kind of not done that. But I would like to get into something similar where it was mindful motion, and it was relaxing for me, especially because usually it's somebody speaking in a really relaxing tone, and having things kind of connected, having your mind and body connected is really important, especially for people who have interoception issues and have a hard time feeling their own body cues. Having that kind of consistent repetition of kind of feeling the different sensations in your body, and focusing on that, I think can be really helpful in kind of building that strength. So I've thought about doing some different types of movements that maybe are a little bit more like Tai Chi, that would be more stabilizing instead of stretching. But I haven't really gotten into that either, because I just don't have enough time in the day to do everything. Nor do I have the mental capacity to do everything. Sensory regulation has been huge for me. I think that is one of my bigger things. Sensory regulation and social aspects, I think, are like two very big things for me. I can be both sensory avoidant and sensory seeking. It depends on what it is. I tend to be more physically sensory seeking. I like the way things feel, but I can be sensory avoidant when it comes to certain textures. I like to stim quite frequently, doing different things like playing with my necklace or playing with the fuzzy balls at the end of my sweater, sweater scarf thing. Or I have these magnetic balls that one of my coworkers got me. I've got a squishy stim ball in my bag. I have a little, basically it's like a Rubik's Cube for dummies. It's just like it comes apart and you can kind of like stretch it, but it has a string that attaches all of them that's like elastic, and you can like put it in different shapes, and that's a good one. You know, just generally different fidget things that I use quite frequently. I tend to be kind of sensory seeking when it comes to food. I like different flavors. I like spicy foods. I like bold flavors. I like hot food. So I can definitely, I'm definitely sensory seeking in some ways. But lots of noise, loud noise, repetitive noise, bright lights, flashing lights. I can be very sensory avoidant for all of those. So yeah, it just depends on what the sensory thing is, what sense it is, what is it. It can be, yeah, it can be very particular about those things. So, but knowing that I need to regulate those things has really helped in some of my nervous system regulation, because I know that I just need to have these most of the time. I have a tracker on the case, so I cannot lose them, hopefully. And I have my sun glasses that are really big and go around, full coverage sunglasses. so that I can block it all out when I need to. Mostly when I'm driving home, because all of the bright headlights coming on the other side of the road is, I can't see. Like, I want to close my eyes all the time, and I can't do that because I'm driving. So I just have to dim things. So yeah, I mean, it's good to know. I definitely think that it's helped me a lot, and I think if I didn't have them, I would have a lot harder time with regulating myself. Because the more I can kind of remove those things, the better I can control my reaction to the stuff that I can't really control. Like, the better I can kind of I guess devote resources to the areas that I can't control, like smells. Oh my god. Why do Uber drivers have to basically dump cologne all over their car? I don't understand it. It was like I was tasting it. I could taste it. I could taste the smell all the way to the restaurant and all the way back from the restaurant. And thankfully, mostly the way to the restaurant was worse than the way back. And like 5 minutes after getting to the restaurant, I was breathing it out. I could feel, like, I could taste it. It was so bad. Same with people and their colognes. I was just in the grocery store, and like several times I just went like, God, and I felt bad. Like, I felt like I don't want people to like think what's wrong with her, you know, like. But my partner was like, I said something about, like, I know is it annoying, is annoying it is words. It's just as annoying for me to feel that way when I smell something like that as it is to be around me when I make those reactions. And he's like, it's not annoying. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, just like realizing that, like, I can unmask and not feel bad about my reactions is really really healing for me. Trying really hard to just work on that unmasking process, but it can be really hard when I've been so self-conscious for so long about everything, and I have become hyper-vigilant on a lot of things, and I don't want to be anymore because it was burning me out completely. So I'm trying really hard not to do that. So it's a process of just gradually allowing myself to do things like make a weird face when I smell something that is gross, so, or just too strong, or like, yeah. I can't do that at work. If somebody walks in with cologne and they're talking to me, I can't just go, you know, or like, but I want to really, really bad, and sometimes I have to just like hide it because it is just that bad. But I have to be more aware of things. But, you know, it's a balance. I still live in a neurotypical environment. There's nothing I can really do about that. So just making the best of it, trying to unmask where I can. Yeah. Social support networks, I would say I don't have as much on that because I don't have a social support network, really. I have, I guess, friends and family, but I don't have very many friends. And my family has been pretty supportive this whole time, so that's really good. My coworkers are pretty supportive, but I don't really have much of a social network per se. I think it's just, I guess I would be more aware of it if I had people that were very specifically against me unmasking or like being myself, but I don't really have a lot of that going on, so socializing can just be a lot for me. I have to do that a lot at work, so trying to think about doing more socializing for fun, like, ooh, I don't have the mental capacity for that. But I do some things like listen to podcasts on neurodiversity and follow people on Instagram that have good messages or share their personal experiences, and in a way that's kind of my way of socializing with the neurodiverse people. I also have several neurodiverse people in my life, so my partner and my partner's mom and probably my dad and some people at work, just kind of all around positive, like affirming neurodiverse people. But I gotta wrap up because it is work time. But yeah, basically addressing all co-occurring mental health and neurodivergent needs simultaneously, which is pretty much what I was talking about, like just trying to focus on, for me, it was understanding my neurodiversity and helping myself with that really helped with my mental health, but you have to be aware of everything that's going on and how they're interconnected in order for it to really be beneficial, and then reducing the stigma around mental health conditions and neurodiversity, which, yeah, I think that's partially why I'm doing this podcast, is I want to normalize some of this. This is what my real experience is like, and I don't think that anyone should feel ashamed of what their experience is, and I think we should all be able to share our experiences in a safe and supportive environment. And with that, I will let you guys go because I gotta get to work, and always remember that you are enough.